Hello, everyone. I'm Stefan Huang. I'm happy to meet you again on this international trade law digestive program. Today, we are talking about Article 25. It's about a fundamental break of contract, which in this article, I believe it could be the most common and the most important articles we should pay attention to when when we are dealing with the international trade regarding goods. Okay, what means the Article 25? What means a fundamental breach of contract? Firstly, it's about a way that you can deny the contract. Yeah, you can reject to perform that contract. That also means the contract is not anymore valuable to you. You just reject everything. You want to return to the point that you never engage with this contract. Okay, so the meaning is firstly here substantially if there is a break of contract, that break already constitute substantially deprive the other party of what he is entitled to expect under the contract. So it means it's a major, a substantial, and also a grave default. Yeah. Okay, so it substantially deprived the other party. Yeah, the other party suffers some detriment, and the contract is for him not no meaning anymore. So, in the case that the break of contract constitute fundamental, what the other party can do? Okay, the buyer may avoid the contract according to the Article 49, paragraph 1. Yeah, that means the buyer just reject the whole contract to be carried on and reject to pay anything. And even though the buyer can ask for damages for the non-conforming performance. And the second, yeah, buyer can reject, and also the seller can avoid the contract if the buyer constitute fundamental break of contract. And the third, buyer may reject the replacement or reduction of price in case of fundamental break. Yeah, because the fundamental break is already so grave, so substantially is a substantial detriment that the contract is has no meaning to the buyer or to the seller. So the buyer can reject the replacement. Yeah, because it's nothing meaningful anymore. And the break of collateral duty can be deemed as a fundamental break. Collateral duties means duties that other than providing the goods, the conforming goods, and also providing the payment. Yeah, it's the duties other than that. Something like you have to provide a letter of credit, and you have to provide me a certificate of a certain um, yeah, that can prove the goods is conforming certain qualities. Yeah, certificate, LOC, BL, something like that. So there is one case that the manufacturer has displayed the trademarked goods at a convention at a fair, and the buyer has warning the seller not to do so. And after several warnings, the manufacturer the seller just doing the same, just demonstrate the goods. Yeah. So that is not very healthy. So in this case, the court just decide is constitute a fundamental break of contract. And then here we look at the burden of proof. The burden of proof for the fundamental break of contract. Yeah. So the aggrieved party, that's the party who suffered damage, should prove the break is fundamental. Yeah, so my detriment, my damages I suffered is fundamental. It's very grave. It's substantial. Yeah, and for the violating parties, it has to prove, yeah, such kind of result is not foreseeable under the contract. That is something that in the contract cannot foresee. Yeah, yeah, and just as a defense against the fundamental break. And then let's look into a fundamental break must be of a certain nature and weight. So look at a certain nature. That is, it can be not very ordinary. It not cannot be a small thing. But actually, for that trade, for that deal is for that the nature of that deal is important and exceptionally important. Like you order a Christmas gift, so that means this gift or this ornaments and these decorations must be shipped before the Christmas holidays. So the shipment after the late shipment will be in this nature could be regarded as fundamental. And weight means that is very heavy, and this the degree of this violation is very grave. Okay. So we can see in some details, the other party must suffer detriment as to the substantially deprive it of what he expects under the contract. So it's the detriment is very substantial, and so that his what he expects under the contract has been deprived. Yeah, and the break must therefore nullify. Nullify means yeah, made is nothing at all. Made nothing left at all. Okay, nullify or essentially depreciate the other party's justified expectations. So the expectations through the contract will not exist anymore, will not be realized anymore. Yeah. Okay. Normally, not to expect the delivered goods. Yeah. So you cannot expect the other party can deliver goods, and these goods can comply with the buyer's country standard. So it's international transaction. That means they provide the goods from one country to the other country. But some standards are are different from country to countries. So you cannot expect the seller should comply every standards of every country. It's not able. But there's some exceptions. We will see in the cloud case 123, the New Zealand muscle case. And then the term fundamental breach shall be interpreted restrictively, because let's go back to the effect when the fundamental break take place will be the nullify, the avoid of the contract. So that means the contract shall be totally cancelled and everything will back to the before. Yeah. So that means is a great consequence. That is a very very strong consequence. So the fundamental break shall be interpreted very, very in a strict manner. Okay. So in case of doubt, no fundamental break will be accepted. So that is the rule. And then let's see the specific fundamental break situation. Yeah. Okay. Complete failure to perform a basic contractual duty. So you completely failed. Yeah, that is easy. Okay. Then a minor part of contractual duty is not performed. So if you just failure in a minor part, that minor part cannot overrule the whole contract and make your violation becomes a fundamental breach. And for the other party had just made an announcement, and this is a final and unjustified announcement that could he just announced I won't perform anymore. So like the buyer sent a statement to the seller that I won't pay you any more money, I won't pay you any installment, and for the other party, for the seller, I just go insolvency. I just bankrupt. So that means I cannot pay you anymore. I cannot ship any goods as I promised before. So in that situation of insolvency, that means it's not able to perform anymore. So firstly, the buyer refused to open a letter of credit. That means, we can expect the buyer won't pay anything at all. And then failure to perform the first installment. So the first installment, just failed. So it means we cannot expect the second, the third installment. So it just direct go to the fundamental breach. And the buyer insolvency, I've just explained. Insolvency means I cannot pay anything. I cannot perform anything. So that's called insolvency, the situation. And then the late performance, that means the delivery is just arrive a little later. So late performance, ordinary, here is ordinary. Does not itself constitute fundamental breach. So ordinary means normally. So, but there are always principle and exception. In the exceptions, in which the delivery time of performance is essentially important. Just as I explained, the delivery before the Christmas, because it's a Christmas decoration. So that the delivery time is very important. And also, the other party can fix additional period if you just a late performance. You cannot deliver the goods as the preset time. So I can give you an extension. And that extension, if you fail again, you fail the extension, then it could be turned to fundamental breach, because we cannot expect you to hold your promise. And then non-conforming quality of goods. The good is not in a quality that conforms the contract. So basically, it's not fundamental. If seller may use or resell without unreasonable inconvenience. Okay, so for it's a test that if the goods can be sold or resold, can be used or resold without unreasonable inconvenience, unreasonable price, then it could be regarded as non-fundamental. And the goods has a major defects, and that goods is an equipment or even is a machine, and that machine manufactured could be a defect goods or defect products. So that is already fundamental. It's something like you just the seller has delivered a noodle making machine, a noodle manufacturing machine, but it is flawed. So that flawed machine always produced the flawed goods. So in this case, in this situation, the flawed machine is non-conforming and fundamental, because it will worsen the quality of the products that from that machine. And the added substance should conform the both country standards. That is a very important cloud case. It's 150 sugared wine. The addition, the added substance to the goods should conform both countries' standards. But I have to say this case is special. It's about a wine. Delivered goods is wine, so it's subject to a stricter standards, because it's something that you take into your body, and then repair the non-conforming goods. If it can be easy repaired, so that is not fundamental. Especially in a situation that seller offers a quick repair. In that case, the buyer cannot deny the goods, the delivery of goods. The other violation of contracts could be as fundamental breach, something like deprive the aggrieved party of the main benefit. Here keyword main benefit, and the violating party could have foreseen this result. And also, it's important. Accumulated violations is easier to become fundamental breach, because from a good faith, a principle good faith, you are always violating the contract. So it could be a waste of time that I keep on dealing with you. So if the agreed party loses his main benefit of the contract, yeah, this constitute a fundamental. And also a typo in a bill of lading is not fundamental. It's just a typo. Yeah, wrong typing. And unduly withhold some titles, some certificate. Title means the ownership of that goods, especially in the shipments, the bill of lading. So the transfer of bill of lading that indicate the transfer of the ownership, but they just hold that title, hold that BLs that makes the buyer cannot have the ownership of that goods. So it's called unduly withhold the titles. And also some certificate, especially some certificates that indicate the goods is conforming, or just meet the standards of the importing country. And unjustified denial of contract right, that is important. Here is two examples. Substantial violation of exclusive supply and resale arrangement. Yeah, if you just violate, it is a exclusive sale or exclusive distribution relations. But you just violate, you just re-export these goods to another jurisdiction that violate fundamentally that exclusive sales contract. And so the second case, the FOB term, free on board term, the buyer refused to hire a ship for the seller. Yeah, so free on board means the seller's responsibility ends when the goods ship on the, just put on the ship, but the buyer doesn't hire, just doesn't hire the shipping. Yeah, that means the seller's responsibility never ends. Okay, so that is a cheat. I have to say that is a cheat. And a delay in accepting goods on the buyer side, generally not fundamental. But if the delay, if it just delays for several days, it could not be regarded as fundamental. Okay. Okay. So that is the content, basic content, Article 25, fundamental breach of contract. But I have to mention in this article, this special article, we have to further look into some cases, especially some interesting cases, such as I've mentioned the New Zealand mussel case and also the Italian sugar wine case. So let's see each other several days later on the different topic. Thank you. Bye bye.